You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chillson, and this is our Pride Month series review for Stop That Train. Now, before we jump into this review, make sure to go ahead, click that subscribe button down below so you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. So we are back once again for our Pride Month series of reviews and a new drag film to review. As always, for these drag reviews, I am joined by the ever so lovely Ren. Hi, Ren.
Hi, Larry.
Well, this is a very special occasion because for the first time in this series history, we actually have a brand new theatrically released drag film to discuss here for Pride Month. Okay. Mother Rue has delivered, at least on that front, when it comes to Stop That Train. So this is a 2026 farce spoof style comedy film directed by Adam Shankman that follows two stewardesses who must save the day when a catastrophic storm threatens to derail a high-speed train. Stop That Train stars RuPaul Charles, as well as drag queen, drag race alumni favorites Ginger Minj, Jujubee, Latrice Royale, Brook Lynn Hytes, Symone, Marcia Marcia Marcia, and Monet X Change, as well as a plethora of celebrity cameos that includes Sarah Michelle Gellar, Tyler Jesse Ferguson.
You should just say a pile of famous people. Those credits at the beginning were crazy
Oh
long.
my gosh. Yeah, we got Joel McHale, we've got Matt
Yeah,
Rogers in here.
for
It's a
like
pile of people.
3 seconds of a bunch of random famous people. It's fine.
The film has a lot of folks you'll recognize if you've watched Drag Race. Let's
Yeah,
just say that.
yeah.
And this film certainly feels tailor-made for fans of Drag Race because it's definitely right up RuPaul's wheelhouse. If you've watched any of her, well, anything really, if you watch Drag Race, you know her humor. If you've watched stuff like AJ and the Queen and all these random extra stuff that
Yeah.
she's done outside of Drag Race, it fits the bill for that humor as well. And
There's
that's what you
also
get
lots
here.
of little like inside jokes that are like
Yes.
for the fans that are in there too.
Specific lines straight from Drag Race that, of course, RuPaul had to bring to this film. Now, I have to say, right off the bat, I was shocked. I guess I didn't read the synopsis before that RuPaul is not actually the lead of this film. It is Ginger Minj and Jujubee get the like leading bill credits, if you will, here. They are definitely our main characters. They are the two stewardesses
My
trying
God,
to save the day.
oh my God, that was Jujubee? Oh my
That was
God.
Jujubee, girl.
She looks so different. Let's be really clear. I stopped watching like 6, 7 seasons in and was like, all right, I'm over this. And it's been like 35. So I can't be expected to keep track of all of the drag queens by
Toward the
this point.
point in the film, I was sitting there like, has like the three like bitchy stewardesses played by Brooklyn, Symone, and Marcia Marcia Marcia. I was like, did
Yeah.
Ren watch any of their seasons?
No,
Did she make
nope.
it to even Brooklyn's season, Brooklyn
No.
Heights? With
None of them have.
Michelle in like a little red wig.
Yeah, yeah. And I definitely recognized, yes, Michelle Visage, yeah, obviously.
She didn't have her like a signature little white streak in her hair. She got a red little
No.
wig going on for this.
I recognize some of them not. I assumed a lot of them were like later season things I had not seen.
Well, right off the bat, if you don't like spoof style movies, this is right off the bat not for you. Particularly if you don't like spoofs and you're not a fan of Drag Race, there's nothing here. I mean, this is
Yeah.
just a skip.
Even if you do like spoof movies and you're a fan of Drag Race, it's still.
I had an okay enough time with it. It gave me exactly what I expected from Stop That Train.
Uh,
The good, the bad, and all the in between. It gave me just what I anticipated heading into that movie theater.
Man, I don't know what I anticipated. I thought it would be funnier, but I'm not really super surprised because I've watched some of the other like World of Wonder drag movies, and
Yes.
this is my mean girl take. I want to be the mean stewardess here. It
Yes.
feels like maybe they were having a really great time on set and they thought they were so funny. And maybe there wasn't a lot of thought put into whether or not someone watching the film would find these things funny. I like spoof films. I liked the Naked Gun that just came out. I thought that was
So good.
funny.
So
I
good.
was really entertained by it. So I don't
Shockingly
think
good,
it's
actually.
yeah, yes, it was shockingly good, but it was good. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
So I don't think it being a spoof was the problem. I think it just being not that funny was the main problem.
I
I
do
just
think, just
yeah.
coming off of another spoof film that I was a little kinder to than a lot of people as well, I think this is actually probably more widely accessible and generally funny than Scary Movie 6 was. So, speaking of spoof films, I think if you like spoofs, this has more to laugh at than Scary Movie 6.
Yikes.
This is
Yikes, man. I don't know if I want to see Scary Movie 6 if there was even less to laugh at. I would say, okay, so the whole movie is about an hour and a half.
yeah,
I probably actually
thankfully.
laughed out loud maybe 6 times. Would you say you heard me laugh maybe 6 times?
There's very few laugh out loud jokes. I think that's kind of the main issue. There's a lot of chuckles. There's a lot of like, like kind of like little cutesy moments or chuckles that you
Yeah.
get throughout, but there's very few big laughs, I'd say.
And I feel like you could get away with having a lot of cutesy chuckles if the big laughs were bigger laughs. It was like the only times that I actually laughed were the times that should have been like the consistent laughs throughout of like,
Yeah.
that's cute, that's funny. I will say one of the highlights for me was probably Latrice Royale. I thought she was really funny. She delighted me every time she came on the screen.
There's a few running gags here, and I think
Yes.
Latrice's is the most successful. She just
Yes.
kind of like pops up, and every time it's a delight.
Yes, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the West Wing walking and just stacking stuff thing. That was fun. That was a fun little gag. Yeah, it was just like I just didn't laugh as much as I expected to actually laugh for a spoof, right? Like I understand camp, I understand comedy, but like if
Yeah.
you're obviously you're not there for the plot, you're not there for the storyline. So if you're not there
Or
for
the
the
characters.
storyline or the characters or any of that stuff, then you've got to be there for the laughs. And I didn't laugh. I didn't think it was that funny.
I think part
It
of the problem is they tried to poke fun a little bit at like the earnest friends trope. That's not necessarily a save the day on a train trope. So like some of the tropes just aren't
yeah.
part of this subgenre. A very
Yeah.
specific subgenre, mind you. Like it's
And
a very specific thing.
I also just in general was like, what a weird thing to try and spoof. Like it's just like there's not a lot of like action train disaster comedies. There's not even a lot of like airplane disaster
Yeah.
comedies. I think it might have been they would have had an easier time if they had chosen a topic that was more topical. Do a Even romantic comedies right now are a little bit more popular. You
Yeah,
could,
they're having to come back.
you could have spoofed like Challengers would have been a really fun thing to spoof for a bunch of drag queens. There just could
Oh,
have been like a lot of other choices made. This was kind of an interesting one. It felt like they were trying to do like Airplane, right? Less successfully. Again,
yeah.
love Drag
I
Race,
think
love drag queens. I just didn't laugh.
I think it just starts really strong. So I think the start is definitely the strength of the film. The opening credits are really fun. We get like where they cut in all of these random shots of trains and then they cut to like toy trains on that are clearly a set, the little like old school wooden
Yes.
trains like and then very clearly
Yes.
CGI trains.
Yes.
Like it's all just kind of like
Yes.
okay, that's cute and
Which is
fun.
fun.
And then as we kind of set things up, I thought a lot of the banter was fun and funny and you're getting there.
Yeah.
It's the middle section and then even at least half of the third act that just there's not enough laughs to keep it going. So you're kind of like, okay, There's not story here. We need to laugh more.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, even the train thing, that gag was like cute and kind of fun towards the very beginning, but also it like went on probably like a full 2, 3 minutes too long for like
Yeah.
the first opening gag. Like, I just don't who wrote this movie because I don't think they or the director understand anything about comedy. And like Ginger Minj is funny. She was funny on Drag Race. She's funny just like in videos. So I have to assume that there's a disconnect between like the people writing the script, the people who are directing, and the people who are like editing it. There's rules of comedy, and I'm not saying you have to like follow all the rules of comedy, but like there's simple things that you can follow that they just like didn't follow. Timing is one of them. It just felt like a lot of the time the timing was off and they just stuck with a gag too long. There's a scene where Rachel Bloom's character is like pouring sugar into her coffee, and it was like kind of funny the first coffee, and then there's a whole bunch of extra sugar, and then they took it like too far where it was like, oh shit, all right, we got it. Ha
I
ha.
actually think, see, like that scene,
Ha.
I was like, if she had just done the coffee and then she pulls out this big sugar, if she had opened the top of the sugar and just poured the coffee into the sugar, that's
That
how
would
you
have been
flip it. You know what I
funnier.
mean? That's how you flip a
Yes.
gag to
Yes.
like give us like a fun little gag at the end.
Yes, we're just like randos who are like, there would have been a funnier way to do that. And like, I was thinking about it also. I was wondering what it was going to be like. I feel like sometimes in comedies, especially for a while around the Judd Apatow era, they got way too into improv. They were just like rambling for a while. It didn't make sense.
It
And
stops
the
being
jokes
funny.
weren't, and it stopped being funny, and the jokes weren't snappy. So I was hoping that having an actual script, it says that it was written by these two people. The script was written by this person, that maybe having a script would mean that it was clean and the jokes were clean and funny. I actually think this movie probably could have done with some more jokes and some more play and some more banter from their actors to sort of like pick the best take of the thing that's like actually funny, because it seems like maybe stuff that seemed funny on the page and would be funny when they were like reading it, when they
Yeah.
actually did it, it just like didn't translate as well. Or
I
maybe
think
they
I,
thought it was really funny when they were recording it and they all think it's
well,
hilarious.
I mean, that's another thing. Again, if you watch Drag Race, those acting challenges, sometimes as an audience member, you are definitely cringing your way through and you are hearing RuPaul cackle. Like, RuPaul is cackling at some of the stupidest ish you've ever seen in those acting challenges on Drag Race. Some of it's definitely, that's Ru's humor. And I
Yeah.
don't know that it translates as well as she thinks it does.
Yes, I would buy that, right? Like I think the parts of Drag Race that I tend to laugh at the most were Snatch Game is generally where you get the biggest laughs, but that's when like the drag queens who are really funny get a chance to be like funny, to like live in a character and like make up jokes and do the thing. And yeah, I agree when those like scenes come out. I just don't, yeah.
I
I
agree with
don't,
I
yeah.
definitely agree. I think maybe we should. I don't know how much obviously is improv, how much they allowed, but you have Ginger Minj and Jujubee, who are both very funny queens. But also their styles are quite different. Like if you watch their style of comedy, it's very different. So it's kind of like, okay, do they fit together? And then you have Latrice, who's just this, and that's why I think maybe she's able to overcome a little because she's so charismatic. She just has such a good presence that
Agreed.
she kind of makes it work still, but she's also a very funny queen. Monet X Change is very funny. You have a lot of these really funny queens from
Yeah.
Drag Race here. Maybe if they had let them banter off of each
Yeah.
other more,
Yeah.
we could have
I agree.
done some.
It was like there was like certain moments that were like really funny, which is like, Ashley, do something. And she goes to try and steal her thing. And she's just like, I'm sorry. I just had like a 10. What did she say? It was like
Yeah.
not barbiturate, it's benzos or something. But like, and she's like passes the floor. For whatever reason, that's just funny. But that's the sort of thing that like I would have expected to find if you had allowed an ensemble of comedians to like play a little bit. And I think that might be, I don't know. I don't know what was going on in their scene, but I just, I know these women are performers, they're comedians. So I feel like perhaps the script was a yoke about their necks.
Now, How did you feel about the two musical numbers we got, Ren?
It's a weird choice to only have two musical, like either it's a musical or it's a not. So I was like, oh, there's a musical number. Okay. I generally like a musical number. I'm pro news musical number. I didn't think the songs were very like catchy or anything. So it's kind of like, again, if you only have two songs, make them like really good songs. Yeah, I think about Demon Hunters. If you like hear them talk about the making of it, they wrote like 100 plus songs trying to find the best one. And these ones just felt like they kind of made up a generic song to go with their generic like moment they needed for the movie. I'm like, again, there's rules. You don't have to follow all the rules, but like songs are supposed to come at particular moments, not like just we're stewardesses doing a dance number. Let's go.
I thought the first one was fun, where
First one
they're
was fun.
basically giving them the instructions, the like
Yeah, sit the
airplane
fuck
mode,
down.
sit the fuck
Yeah,
down, and that's
that's
fun.
fun.
The
Yeah,
second one, okay, I'm gonna admit, I was a little bit confused because they're using a specific drag queen's like catchphrase of "look over there" as a distraction in a political challenge. Jada Essence Hall, who is not in the film, so it was very. I was like, why are we doing a "look over there" song? And Jada's not here to do the song with them. If you're
that's all
gonna do a
right.
drag queen's catchphrase, at least
As a whole
have the drag
song.
queen here.
Or like, yeah,
Um,
like a guest spot at least.
or if
Yeah.
they said, look over there, and they point and she's standing in the doorway. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
at least have Jada be on the train or something. I thought that was what was, as a drag fan, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's a missed opportunity.
They just like felt kind of a little bit out of place because that's it. There was just two songs. I'm a fucking musical theater nerd, all right? Like you expect to have the songs happen at specific moments. Like you expect to have a song between Jujubee and the like love interest, right? Dee Dee and the love interest. There should be a moment for that. You should expect to have a song when they're like getting onto the train and it's like, this is our dream, this is where we're going, right? Like there's places where the songs belong and places that you expect them to. And that also might have helped the movie a little bit better
The
is if the
pacing
song,
is to have the
yeah.
songs
If
to
the,
kind
if
of
it
pace
had
through it.
songs, then they wouldn't have had to do so much with the jokes that weren't that funny. If at least like they bulked it out with songs that were kind of like a fun, silly
And
time
part
on
of it
their
you blame
own.
on the editors too, because I think this is where you can tell World of Wonder is a television production company. And this is a World of Wonder film distributed by Bleecker Street, who usually distributes like award style, like gritty little films.
Yeah.
But World of Wonder, they were the production company. They've only ever produced television, as far as I know, or movies that were like released straight to streaming type of, like
And
I
it,
think they probably did Hurricane Bianca, stuff like that.
but it
So
did seem to have a bigger production budget than
yes.
Hurricane Bianca
Oh yeah,
too, right?
it
Like it
definitely
seemed like
did.
they put some money into this
Yeah, they
one.
they they got it into theaters, but I always think that's kind of the big problem with someone like Tyler Perry is that even though he's released all of his films into theaters, there's a flow to a film that you see in a movie theater that you kind of expect with editing. You expect an editor, music choices, the score, all of it to kind of like flow. And when you get somebody who's mostly television, TV can flow differently. Like you're
Yeah.
allowed to be a little bit choppier on television than you
Sure.
are in film and get away with it. And this film just, they didn't quite have the finesse of flow, and that hurts comedy. Because if you're not flowing in comedy, it starts to, you start checking your watch, even if it's only an hour and a half.
Or your eyelids start drooping, even though you definitely took your Adderall today.
Yeah.
The movie was an hour and a half, and like it's not that right. Like there's so many movies that are like 2 hours, and they needed to be edited down to an hour and a half. This was a movie that seemed like it was maybe an hour's worth of content, and then they just like had to like hit it. No, it seemed like it was written to be exactly an hour and a half because that was what they were going for. But then they didn't have anything extra to edit it down into like its most polished, hilarious form.
That's why I'm kind of like definitely nicer than Ren here because I think I see it. It could have been there for me. It's just not quite. The pieces didn't quite add up to it for me. I think it's a little bit morbid for the type of movie we're going for. But I have to admit, I thought the RuPaul and the child thing was funny, and I thought the payoff at the end was very morbid and ridiculous. So that was me. I was like, this is
I
outrageous, and I find it funny.
I feel like okay, I wasn't necessarily bothered by the little kid, but I feel like it could have been a much more ridiculous thing.
Oh.
Like that's just like actually
Could have
traumatizing.
been as a vegan, I shouldn't say it, but let it be a squirrel or something,
Well,
like
yeah, or let it be like an entire schoolhouse full of blind and deaf
they
children
well,
and right
they turned
like
it into that like, oh, you're coming right at the Make-A-Wish Foundation's convention at the center today. Like
yes,
if
yeah,
that had
yeah,
been
yeah,
the
yeah.
thing RuPaul was like traumatized by.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So it was like so simple that like it could have gone big. It should have gone bigger and more ridiculous. Chris Parnell was like almost funny. I feel like I've seen him play that character like multiple times now, where yes, he plays that exact same character in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where he's just like a straight up drug addict. It's just where I was like, I feel like I've seen that. Yeah. I don't know. I just thought the bits were like not that funny. There's like a whole ongoing bit about Sarah Michelle Gellar being like unrecognized for being famous, which is kind of it's a funny actor to pick for that because she's not like superstar status.
He's definitely like
Um,
A-list gay famous.
yes, she's A-list gay famous, but like, is she? I wouldn't
Yes.
yeah, I wouldn't. She's Buffy, sure, but I wouldn't like if I was gonna go for
Millennial.
somebody.
Okay, wait. Millennial gay famous.
But like, if it
Buffy,
was,
Cruel Intentions, Scooby Doo. That's all she needed. Oh, and I Know What You Did Last Summer. That's it. That's all
yeah,
she needs. And she's
I
like
I feel
on
like
the
you would
high
need
horse.
somebody. She was just like you need somebody like high, like Patty LuPone. If it was Patty LuPone that they kept on like not knowing, or it was like Lady Gaga that they kept on not
That's how you
knowing.
know Ren is like a musical theater gay.
Yeah, it's just
She went to Patty LuPone as like the uber famous,
Patty
completely
LuPone, I
recognizable.
believe, has been a guest on RuPaul's Drag Race.
It's great.
Also, that's a thing that you know that the gays would be excited about.
I mean, if
Um,
it was Gaga, then obviously it would have been,
right?
an instant gag, like
Yes,
an instant
yes,
yes.
yeah.
I wish
And
Joel McHale had come back because I thought it was
yeah,
a cute
he's
one
fun.
bit, and then he was gone, and we never see him
Yeah.
again. And I'm like, okay, well,
Well, but you know what? A lot of the bits weren't that funny. Like I think Natasha Leggero is hilarious. I love her in almost everything. And sure, her ongoing bit, it was like funny to have her in the quiet car. The quiet car was funny, having her yelling in the quiet car, and then the quiet car at the end when they're like in the
that was,
crash
yes,
and they're like
very
silently
funny.
freaking out. That was funny. That was a good bit. That's what I mean, is like there were good bits
Yeah,
here and there. If they would have like taken more time and tried out more things, they could have edited out the bits that weren't as funny and
yeah,
had more funny bits, more like, or the same bits that they roughly had could have been the funniest
punched up.
versions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
punched up a little bit.
Actually, going back to the musical theater thing of like, there should be more songs. Like, it's so funny to have Rachel Bloom and not give her a song. I don't even like watch Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I've seen like a few episodes. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend shows that you can have a television show with songs that are like catchy that people remember and they enjoy and they like make sense in the context of like why not ask Rachel Bloom to help with that? You have her in your
You
movie.
got Charo,
Yeah,
right?
you're Chara, right?
Charo was her coworker.
Why did Chara have a moment? Yes, like there was
We didn't even get a little coochie coochie nothing from Charo.
nothing. There was one moment where she was playing the
Yes.
guitar in the
But
office.
we
Yeah, I just feel like it was a whole lot of like missed opportunities and just not enough opportunities for people who are normally very funny to shine, to like try and be funny. I kind of I mean I like that you stack it. They had a ton of celebrities, right? They had like Richie, Nicole
oh,
Richie.
Nick,
She was fun. I liked her silly hat and her whole thing. Costumes. Can we talk about the costumes for a second? I'm not a costume, but if I got the opportunity to costume design a drag movie, I think I would have had a lot more fun with it. And it may not be the costume designer's fault because sometimes your director has just got dumb ideas. But I was a little underwhelmed at the costumes for like that's the thing that's like so fun about the other movies that we've talked about, like To Wong Fu and Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Yeah, like the costumes are amazing. That is the joy of
Yeah.
drag for a lot of people is the costumes are so incredible. And these just felt
Well, that's part of the problem is that you only cast them as stewardesses. So the drag queens, it's either RuPaul or the stewardesses. So they're in one costume pretty much the whole film because they have to be in their little stewardess costume.
yeah, and the
And
president they put in just like a pantsuit, which is
like
like
this.
works for the I don't want to watch them be in characters. I want to watch them be in
Why couldn't it
incredible
be bedazzled? Like
Yes.
the most drag is that she has the animal print as her undershirt, but
Yeah.
it's like, why is
Yeah.
her suit not rhinestoned? You
Well,
know what I mean?
and then when she comes out at the end and she's got her like camo suit, that was all rhinestoned. But even that like could
Yeah.
have been more, right? Bigger, more like giant
At the at the
shoulder
very least,
pads
that's why
and
we needed, where was Bianca Del Rio as a patron? You needed some drag queens as actual just people on the train. So then you could get the big glorious drag of it all. And then all the celebrities you wanted, they all played themselves. Some, of course we had like what's her face? Bloom. And some of
Rachel
them,
Bloom.
Matt
Yeah.
Rogers, they were playing characters, but a lot of the celebrities were just playing themselves on this train because they're A-listers and the Glamazonian railways, I believe it is. They just kind of like dress like themselves on the train. Yeah, I agree. We needed more big drag in the film.
Yeah. Probably the coolest drag thing was when they're underwater for a second and she opens up she's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
your life vest can also be flotation device," and it becomes this cool inflatable dress. You see that for a second, and everybody goes, "Ooh!" And it's like, you knew we wanted to see these sorts of things. Why would you do that for literally a split second, and that's it for the rest of the show? Like there would have been so many more opportunities to do that sort of thing in the context of I mean, I'm just saying the president should have. Why would you put the president in a pantsuit? Like, I understand that, like, from a political, realistic, like, character choice. Please, you're making me a drag film. Put them into. If you're going to be high camp, go high camp. Go the whole way. Give me the thing, man. Again, I'm not here for the characters. I'm not here for the story. I'm here for the jokes. I'm here for the costumes. And I feel like I didn't get either of those things very much. Yeah, it felt a little weird, the choices of the drag queens that were in there. I don't
Definitely
know.
RuPaul favorites. A lot of RuPaul favorites. Again, many of these queens have been on Drag Race many a time, and I'm pretty sure the only queen that has been on more but has not been asked back has a bunch of sexual assault allegations. So, mm,
Wait, which one?
hallelujah, Miss Shangela. She's been banished. So she. Otherwise, I guarantee she would have been in this film, but she's on the list. They weren't asking her ass on here. Anyway,
It's not that kind of raunchy. Yeah, it also
no.
was not as raunchy as I normally expect a drag film to
We
be, or
had the
just like
pit crew
drag
members for
humor.
1 second, and then we
Yes.
have like the moisturizer, and then there's a lesbian joker too, but that was it.
Yeah, it was like you want a scissor was a thing. I thought that was funny. That was give it to me straight and then give it to me gay. And I enjoyed that the second time they did it, she gave it to them as a lesbian. I thought that was really fun
Yes.
because that joke took me a minute of like, what is she? Oh, she's doing lesbian. That's funny.
Give it 20 minutes. I got.
So like one of the comedy rules I was talking about is like the rule of three. And I realized that sometimes they were trying to hit the rule of three. It's just like if it wasn't you can't just do it three times. There has to be a twist to it each time that actually sells it. Also, it has to be like funny the first time, a little funny the first time for it to work the next two times. But if it's just like, dumb. Uh,
I did appreciate her talking about, "Can you read me?" And then they all started
So
reading.
that was a funny bit. That was a funny bit every time. And right, and
Latrice like,
then Yes, and it was funny because it was like funny. It was immediate with Latrice, right? Who did it, and it was
Yeah,
funny initially, the first like out the gate. Then you had like a different character do it, and it was unexpected. Great. Then the
yeah,
last time that they did it, she just said "shut up," and then it was funny, right? That's how you change it up slightly each time, so it's not
yeah.
exactly the same bit, and that keeps it
Yeah.
funny.
Again, I think the pieces are there. The raw material is all here to have a really funny drag queen spoof movie. They just unfortunately weren't quite executed to the potential to make it a really funny drag queen spoof movie.
I'm torn between being like, you should go see this movie so they can get some more money and maybe they can spend a little more time on it next time and just being like, well, don't give them a bunch of money and reward them for not putting enough time into it. Or really, honestly, I think going back to what we said before, I think it probably wouldn't just be partially its time, partially if they just would have like let the drag queens work, I think that would have helped. I don't know.
Ultimately, this one's definitely gonna fall probably on my personal ranking on the year, somewhere mid tierish. I had a perfectly fine time in the theater
Mm.
watching it, but unfortunately, it's not as like laugh out loud funny as I hoped it was going to be. I was hoping to be cackling in that movie theater,
Yeah, me
and
too.
unfortunately, I was not.
Yeah, it is
So
weird that RuPaul is not the main character because she's just giant on the poster. They
it's
really make
her.
it seem like she is the star.
She was like
I
front and center in the marketing
Yeah.
material, the trailers. Obviously, I knew this look going into the movie. I saw the little look and I was like, all right, let me put it together
I
for our
also
review.
think that maybe RuPaul is better at doing that kind of humor that she has in the script.
Mhm.
And so maybe that's part of the problem is that like if it was RuPaul doing all of the stuff
Yeah,
that'll work, right? Like RuPaul doing every bit, honestly, RuPaul did kind of worked for me. That like
yeah,
RuPaul was like entertaining to watch the whole time. So
yeah.
I think unless you are RuPaul, it's
She
really
she has the
hard.
That's the thing with RuPaul is she has the timing down for those bits. Like she knows when to interject. She pulls the face, she's able to do the physical stuff just in her face. Obviously, she getting a little old. Mama Ru is getting up in age, so maybe that's why she's like, I'm not getting up in all that drag. Hand me that damn pantsuit. But no, she's really good at her specific style of comedy. And maybe I agree with you. Maybe some of these other queens aren't as strong in that style of comedy
Yeah.
as she is.
Well, it's like what you're saying that like Ginger Minj and Jujubee, they're both funny, but they're different kinds of funny. And so that it might just be, maybe it would have been better too if they had like sat down and cast it instead of just like picking through girls that they liked from RuPaul's Drag Race. This is why I don't watch RuPaul's Drag Race anymore, is because when I first started watching RuPaul's Drag Race, I was just to borrow a term, gagged by all of the incredible costume making.
Yeah.
Like, especially in the time frames that they had, I was so
Yeah.
impressed with these incredible humans and their ability to not only make their face look crazy, but build an entire
Yeah.
piece of art for their bodies. And then basically it was like, oh, they just got rid of all of the sewing challenges. And so it just became a lot of like lip syncing and these sorts of like doing these comedy scenes and things like that. And I was just like, this is not, it wasn't an active decision of like, I'm not watching RuPaul's Drag Race
Yeah.
anymore. It was just like, I wasn't interested in watching it anymore. The piece of the pie that had like made me want to watch it every week and like sucked me in and made me want to watch every single episode was
Yeah.
just gone because it was like, cool, they can dance around and lip sync. It's like, that's not what's impressive about drag queens to me, and it's never has been. Really? I've seen exactly like two genuinely impressive lip sync performances in my entire life.
Ah!
Obvious. I'm gonna get
Not Ran
dragged.
going crazy on the damn
It's
review.
not a skill, man. You're just moving your mouth to the words. You're they of a song that you haven't written. Like it's just not a display of your human talent. The costumes that you've made, the makeup that you've done, that is the display of you and your skill as a human. Lip syncing is not
The performing, darling. The performance, the physicality, all of it, Red. Come on,
Sure,
darling.
it is one third of what is usually expected in a live performance is the moving your body around and physically emoting. But that's what I'm saying. Like Latrice Royale is like one person I can think of where it like was like, oh holy shit, that is a fucking performance. Oh, we're gonna get in trouble with all the drag queens because
Listen.
I just said that.
If you're a fan of anything Ren and I have done together, whether it be the podcast or these yearly reviews, you know Miss Ren will come through with a very
A
spicy
hot
take
take.
and always is always ready to rip a film
Listen,
quicker than me for sure, darling.
ladies, I love you. I think you're incredible. Every single drag queen who is going out there. I am not the lip sync is just a display for your incredible costuming, your incredible wig making, your incredible makeup. That's what I want is to see you be incredible. I just it's a vehicle, but I'm sorry. I'm not particularly impressed by the ability to move your mouth to someone else's song.
Well,
Ah!
on that lovely note, this film, they actually do their own singing. So there's that in the little musical numbers. Our little drag queens actually sang their songs.
For
So
them.
good for them. For me, if you've watched the trailers for Stop That Train, that's the film you're getting. You know kind of what the film is by and large. If you vibe with drag race humor, I think there's enough here that you'll have fun with. I don't know that you necessarily need to go see it in a theater. It's not one of those that like the visuals aren't amazing to warrant, theater prices. It's not the funniest thing you're going to see in 2026. So I don't know that you need to pay those prices to go watch it in a movie theater, but once it hits Wow Presents or when Netflix or wherever they decide to sell it off to, if you like drag queens, if you, it's particularly if you like films like the Hurricane Biancas of the world, those kind of that level of drag, I think you'll have fun enough.
We didn't have a ton of people in the movie theater with us, but
No.
I also don't feel like the other people in the theater laughed very often either. There wasn't a
There's a
ton of
couple
people, to be
behind us. A
fair.
guy, a guy behind us was probably the
Yes,
most enthusiastic in
yes.
the theater.
I would say he probably laughed maybe three additional times beyond the times that I laughed.
Not this. Not Ren just reads it. You see, Ren, she's always ready for a reading challenge. She's ready
I'm
to read, girls.
reading
Reading is
is
fundamental,
fundamental.
which of course is mentioned in the movie.
Listen, I paid attention to Mama Ru when she taught me.
Well, let us know. Are you heading out to see Stop That Train? If you did watch it, if you are heading out to see this film, let us know. Are you a Drag Race fan, first and foremost? And how did that color your experience of watching Stop That Train? Did you enjoy this film? Did you think it was hilarious, really funny? Did you not enjoy it? If you want to engage in a good library session with Miss Wren, where can they find you, girl?
You can find me at the Audacious Space in downtown Denver. Well, Cap
Ooh.
Hill. We have the Van Helsing Society Immersive World happening all the rest of the year. And this month, we're going to be having a Midsummer Nightmare happening there and also at Hudson Gardens.
Oh, a double location. Okay.
Yes. So if you want to come in your fairy gear, please, we would love to have you.
As you heard, Ren loves a good makeup, a good costume. So
Please.
if you have a lovely fairy makeup that you want to pull out, some cute little fairy fit, we would very much appreciate seeing it. You can see Ren's whole experience with great costuming, great makeup, and great set designs through Audacious. Make sure to follow them all across the social media. Sign up for the newsletter. It's some wonderful stuff here in Denver. Obviously, make sure you're subscribed to the channel here on YouTube, but you can also find me over on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.